We have some outstanding people who are going to speak to you today. Each statement is going to be rather brief, and we're not going to be here a long time. And again, I want you to know there's a lot of water around. We want everybody to be comfortable as you can be, and we don't want anybody passing out. Drink some water. All right? But we have some outstanding people. Shane Pennington and his wife Audra, their two children, Maylee and Michael, moved to Mount Pleasant 3 years ago. Shane is the director of commercial feed for Pilgrim's Pride here in Mount Pleasant. He and his family are members of the First Baptist Church of Mount Pleasant. He's the chairman of the Titus County Friends of the NRA and a committee member of the Longview Friends of the NRA. Shane has served on a public school board, headed many civic events and fundraisers while living in Nacogdoches, Texas. Most recently, here in Mount Pleasant, he has been leading the discussion for a weekly group titled We the People. The group has been studying the Declaration, Constitution, and discussing current topics as they meet. I want you to welcome Shane Pennington.
Thank you, Brother Oglesby. Who said it had to be nighttime to have fireworks on the 4th of July? A few weeks ago, I started looking for a topic for today, and unfortunately, as we all know, it wasn't hard to find one. They range from a stimulus bill that was out of control, a government-controlled corporate America, and a socialized health care, to name a few. I kept asking myself, as many of you have, how did our country get to this point? About the same time, I came across my two kids that night, watching cartoons in another room. Reminded me of a cartoon when I was a kid. Some of you may remember. It's simple. I'll be brief with this. It was a wolf, sheepdog, and a flock of sheep. And the wolf would do whatever he had to do with all his mastermind and his contraptions to sneak past the sheepdog and snatch a sheep off into the night. He'd dress himself in sheep's wool, sneak into the flock, grab a sheep. The other sheep would stand there and watch, do nothing but watch as another one of their own was taken away. But, fortunately, the sheepdog was standing on guard and exposed the wolf for what he was. He taught the wolf a lesson and returned the sheep to the flock. I know some of you are probably wondering, well, what does this have to do? I kind of felt that our country's in the same situation. We the people are to be standing watch over our country and protecting it from the wolves, dressed as politicians and special interests. We have allowed these politicians dressed in sheep's clothing to take over Washington on our watch, ladies and gentlemen, on our watch. They told us, how did it happen? That's the biggest question, but they told us they were looking out for us. Now the question is, who is us? Is it special interest? Is it corporate America? I don't know, but I do know it's not any of us here today. My fellow Americans, the wolves are at the door, and we the people have got to figure out what to do to stop them. Abraham Maslow once wrote, what is necessary to change a person is to make him What is necessary to change a person is to change his awareness of himself. We the people must see that we've been uninformed, inactive, and unfortunately not willing to sacrifice. First, we the people must stay informed. James Madison wrote, knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and the people who mean to be their own governor must arm themselves with the power of knowledge. We must take the time, ladies and gentlemen, to learn the founding documents of our country. The base for which we stand are those documents. We must know the rights the Constitution grants to the people and what it limits our government to do. We must know the structure of the government and who of those make it up. How many of you today, and there's several, you don't have to raise your hand, how many of you today know someone, friend, family, maybe you, who knows the starting lineup for the Texas Rangers? You don't have to raise your hand, but all of us know him. Joe Bynum, where are you? I know you know. And we'll go a step further. He also knows the batting average for most of those guys, and many of us do. But let's take it and go in a different direction. How many of us know the people that represent us and their voting record? Not many. We the people must know the people that we send to represent us, their values, their character, and their integrity. Follow them like we follow our sports figures and the topics and the legislation that is before them, and how they will vote. We must also know these issues and know how they impact not only us, but our neighbors, our community, our nation, and its economy. Secondly, we must be active. What is the first and most important action a citizen must take? They must vote. Be informed of the candidates and vote. Be involved in your country's freedom and the people you send to represent it. But don't stop there, because no parent here taught their kids to look both ways before crossing the street at home in their living room, and then sent the kids out on their own to cross the street. Let your voice be heard. Your elected officials need to hear your voice, and that's what we're doing today. Write, email, or call, and let your voice be heard. It does no good, and hey, I'm to blame. It does no good to shout out an agreement with Sean Hannity from your recliner. Let your representatives know your frustration, and let's don't take it out on our defenseless TV screens any longer. Finally, my fellow Americans, we the people must learn that we must sacrifice for our freedoms, our rights, and our country. There are some in this country, you'll hear from a gentleman today who paid the greatest sacrifice for our freedom by service to this country, and some by their life. Recently, I was visiting with a new friend of mine who is a retired career soldier, whose career spanned from the Vietnam War to the current present-day Iraq War. We were talking about the current issues, and as I was about to climb up on my soapbox, I realized he had paid so much for his country and I so little. I looked at him and said, "It's hard for me to complain to you, seeing how you've sacrificed so much and I so little." His comments back to me were, "Shane, you do not have to be a soldier to be a patriot. You have to have a love for this country and be willing to make a difference." It will take time to stay informed and make a difference, but we must be willing to at least sacrifice time, and most of us are here today doing that. But it should be a family event as well. Our children are our next generation, and they must know what we're about to hand to them. Ladies and gentlemen, we the people must be informed, we must take action, and we must be willing to make a sacrifice for our rights, our freedom, and our country. Originally, when the Constitution was written, it had no title. It simply started, "We the people." Our founding fathers intended for our country to be founded on we the people. Today, I don't think there's a need nor room to start adding we the special interest, we the corporate America, or we the politicians. Our country was founded by the people and for the people. So today, my fellow Americans, the wolves are at the door. Today, we the people must decide, will we be the sheep and be taken by the wolves, or will we be the informed sheepdog watching over our nation that snatches up the wolves, looks them in the eyes and says, "Enough's enough. We don't like the direction you're taking our country, and it stops here." Thank y'all.